The flag was in tatters, fluttering like a dying bird against the gray November sky. Karen and Gwen, all 300 pounds of her, stood triumphant over the wreckage, sneering as if she'd just conquered a kingdom instead of a veteran's memorial. The park was supposed to be sacred, a quiet patch of green in our sleepy Ohio town. It held stone plaques etched with names of soldiers who'd never come home, including my dad, Captain Daniel Harris, killed in Iraq when I was 9. Every year, I'd plant marigolds by his plaque, their golden petals a silent promise to keep his memory alive. But this year, the HOA led by the infamous Gwen sisters, Karen and her sidekick Lynn, decided our tributes were clutter. No warning, no discussion. Just Karen, waddling in like a bulldozer in a floral muumuu, barking orders to rip out the flowers and tear down the flags. Karen wasn't just heavy. She carried her weight like a weapon, her chins wobbling as she yelled, "No flags. They're an eyesore." Her voice was a chainsaw, cutting through the morning calm. Lynn, skinnier but no less venomous, trailed behind, nodding like a bobblehead, her phone out to record the chaos for their HOA newsletter. The sisters had ruled our neighborhood for years, terrorizing anyone who dared plant a rosebush without their approval. But this was personal. I was there that morning, kneeling by Dad's plaque, when Karen's shadow loomed over me. I'm no pushover 25, wiry from years of construction work, and stubborn as hell, but Karen's glare could make a pit bull flinch. "You're ruining the aesthetic, boy," she spat, her breath sour with coffee and self-righteousness. "This park's for everyone, not your dead dad's fan club." I stood, fists clenched, dirt smudging my jeans. "This is a memorial, Karen. My dad died for that flag you're stomping on." She laughed, a wet, mocking sound. "Flags are tacky. And your flowers? Weeds." She kicked at the marigolds, sending petals flying like shrapnel. Lynn giggled, filming it all, her manicured nails glinting in the weak sunlight. A small crowd had gathered. Mr. Thompson, the 80-year-old vet who walked his dog here daily, and Jamie, the park's teenage groundskeeper, both watching in stunned silence. I should have walked away. Dad always said, "Pick your battles, son." But seeing Karen's boot grind his memory into the mud flipped a switch in me. "You're a disgrace," I said, voice low but shaking. "You don't get to decide what honors the dead." Karen's eyes narrowed to slits. "You little punk," she hissed, stepping closer, her bulk forcing me back. "I own this HOA, I own this town. You think you can talk to me like that?" She shoved a meaty finger into my chest, and that's when it happened. Lynn, still filming, tripped over a plaque and yelped, dropping her phone. The crowd gasped. Karen whirled around, screaming. Who pushed her? No one had. Lynn was just clumsy, but Karen wasn't about to let facts ruin her rampage. She grabbed a flagpole, Dad's flagpole, and yanked it from the ground, snapping the metal with a sickening crack. The flag fell, and she stomped on it, her sneakers leaving muddy smears on the stars and stripes. Mr. Thompson, trembling with rage, shouted, "You've gone too far, Karen." Jamie, barely 16, looked like he might cry. That's when I lost it. I lunged forward, not to hit her. God knows I wanted Tobit to grab the flag. Karen swung the pole wildly, clipping my shoulder. Pain shot through me, but I held on, wrestling the tattered fabric from her grip. "This is my dad's," I roared, voice cracking. The crowd was growing. Neighbors, joggers, even a cop who'd been patrolling nearby, Officer Ruiz, drawn by the commotion. Karen didn't back down. She screamed, "He's attacking me," and flung herself to the ground, flailing like a beached whale, claiming I'd pushed her. Lynn, back on her feet, was shrieking, "Arrest him. He's dangerous." The lie was so blatant it was almost funny, but Officer Ruiz wasn't laughing. He stepped between us, hand on his radio, eyes scanning the scene. "Everyone, calm down," he said, his voice steady but firm. The truth came out fast. Mr. Thompson, voice quaking, told Ruiz about the sisters' crusade against the memorial. Jamie, shaking but brave, showed him the torn flowers and broken flagpole. Neighbors chimed in, their stories piling up like kindling. Karen finding Mrs. Lopez for her son's memorial wreath. Lynn threatening to tow cars parked near unsanctioned tributes. The sisters' reign of petty tyranny was unraveling, and Karen knew it. Her face went from red to purple, sweat beading on her forehead as she sputtered, "This is my park. My rules." Ruiz wasn't having it. "Ma'am, this is public property, and you've just vandalized a veteran's memorial." He pulled out his cuffs, and the crowd went silent. Karen's eyes widened, her bravado crumbling. "You can't arrest me. I'm HOA president," she wailed, but Ruiz was already reading her rights. Lynn, for once, had nothing to say, her phone forgotten in the grass as she watched her sister get marched to the squad car. The aftermath was a blur. Karen and Lynn were charged with vandalism and public disturbance. The town rallied, raising funds to restore the memorial. New flags flew higher, marigolds bloomed brighter, and the plaques gleamed after a community cleanup. I stood by Dad's stone, tracing his name with my finger, feeling a weight lift. Karen's arrest wasn't just justice. It was a signal. The town was done bending to her whims. Weeks later, at the HOA meeting, Karen's absence was deafening. Lynn tried to take charge, but the room turned on her, voting to dissolve the HOA's stranglehold on the park. Mr. Thompson, leaning on his cane, proposed a new rule. The memorial was untouchable, a sacred space for everyone. The motion passed unanimously. I walked home that night under a clear sky, the stars sharp above the park. Dad's flag was back where it belonged, snapping gently in the breeze. Karen and Lynn were facing fines and community service, their reputations in tatters. They'd thought they could bully a town into submission, but they'd forgotten what the flag stood for: people like my dad, who gave everything, and people like us, who'd fight to keep their memory alive. The sisters had yelled, "No flags," but the flag stayed. And in the end, that was the only victory that mattered. The end.